When you look up how to start a bullet journal today, you usually end up finding different Plan With Me videos. But I've yet to really see the behind the scenes, the before the Plan With Me video happens. Walking you through the thought process that goes into creating all of these spreads and making sure that everything flows together and works to help you as a bullet journaler. That is what I'm covering in today's videos, the step-by-step guide on how to plan out a bullet journal for yourself. Yours might be different than mine, and that is what this video is for, just walking you through that thought process and the behind the scenes. You can use this if you are a complete beginner to bullet journaling, if you've been doing it for a few months or even a few years. Hopefully all of these tips and tricks help you in setting up your own bullet journal today. Hello beautiful, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Caitlin if you are new here. If you are a complete beginner to a bullet journal and using a bullet journal system, I first recommend you go check out this video right above because I break down what a bullet journal is, and all of those concepts are what we're going to be talking about today. If you are new, you're probably asking, how do I get started with a bullet journal? And the most basic answer I can give you is grab a pen and grab a journal. But that doesn't really help because now I need to know what goes inside the journal. And even though I have things like different Plan With Me videos, I have a whole video on 75 different spread ideas or collections to include in your journal, still doesn't really help. I don't need 75 things, and maybe my Plan With Me is going to be a lot different than what you are actually looking for in your bullet journal. Just so we know where we're starting off, let's look at our March Plan With Me, well, not ours, my March Plan With Me, and get a reference of where we're going. In my March Plan With Me, I had a cover page, calendar page, both for my personal and content. I had a reflection page, gratitude log, different weekly spreads, as well as a seed growing tracker for all of the stuff I want to include in my garden this year. Now, not all of these spreads are going to make it from my March to my April Plan With Me because they're not all relevant. And I'm going to need to figure out what I want to keep, what I want to take away, and what I want to change to help make my life easier. This is the first step that I do every single month. On a separate piece of paper, I go in and review my March Plan With Me and see what I want to transfer over to April. For this month, I know that I want to keep in my regular spreads, things like a calendar, content calendar, cover page, my weekly trackers, and a gratitude log. Those are usually what I find in my own Plan With Me videos. But I know this time I'm not going to be adding in that seed tracker because it's not relevant to my life in April. I've used it, it's done. Why would I include something like that again? However, with the warmer months coming out, I know that I do want to start getting into a walking tracker. So that would be something I would consider writing down. So I write down everything that I think I might want to include. We can go back and cut out the stuff that we actually don't need a little bit later, but this is step number one. You might be asking, okay, Caitlin, if I haven't bullet journaled before, what do? I don't have a previous month to be looking on. Here is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go down into the description box, you're gonna download the free PDF for those 75 different spread ideas, and we're gonna go through it together. You can see here, I've printed that sheet off, and I'm going through and I'm highlighting, completely separate of what I would actually do, but just to show you different variation of ideas that I might wanna include in my bullet journal. Things like different self-care items or trackers. Oh, I'm also a student, so I wanna include student trackers, things like that, and that is where I would start. Now, I'm not saying highlight all 75. Please do not do that because you're not going to actually end up using all 75 of them. Might be a little bit more chaotic than you're hoping for, and you're going to get a little discouraged and probably stop bullet journaling. Pick out the ones that are going to add value to your life and are going to be relevant. Things like seasonal trackers might not be applicable if it's something in the winter and you're in the summer right now. Keep those things in mind. After you've figured out exactly what spreads you want to include, so go through that list, take off the ones you actually don't think you're going to use, put on the ones and keep them there that you're going to use. Then we're going to figure out the layout to them. So what order are they going in? I know that I'm going to start with my cover page first because I like that visual starting fresh for the month. Afterwards, I'm adding in my calendar. But when you're doing this, group important things at the front of your Plan With Me. Things that you're going to reference most often because it'll be the easiest to find. As well, what I'd like to recommend is grouping similar topics together. So for me, this month I have a personal calendar and I have a content calendar. So if you haven't already and you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button. It really does help support the channel and push this video out to other people who are maybe looking for similar content. Step 3 is all about figuring out the layout to these spreads. So in a separate journal, I end up going in with pen. If you don't have a journal separate to the one you already currently are going to be using, use lined paper, blank paper, grid paper, whatever you can get your hands on. Here we're going to block out different rectangles in pen because later on we're going to come in and we're going to sketch over top of this in pencil. And we don't want to be erasing the boxes. I'm leaving a little bit of room on the right hand side so we can add notes to what we want these spreads to look like. Let's deep dive a little bit into my walking tracker first. So you can go out and you can find different inspirations from videos on YouTube, Instagram photos, Pinterest posts, all of that to help you create this specific layout that you want to do. I have a whole bunch of videos that I can link up above specifically for different self-care trackers, and this physical health tracker that I'm using for my walking, I just pulled right out from that physical self-care video. I did end up switching it out a little bit because for me, I like having themes in my bullet journal. So for the month of April, I did a coffee shop theme, and I wanted to make this walking tracker look like an iced coffee cup. So when you fill it in every single day, it's gonna end up looking like a mixture of different iced coffee colors. That is not something that's for everybody, so add in things that are gonna be relevant for you. If you like to have more of a minimalistic style, keep it simple. If you like to have things with a bit more pizzazz and go all out there with watercolors and gouache and drawings, do that as well. Whatever works for you. After you do this for every single page, you should end up with something looking a little like this. Those boxes are going to be filled in with your sketches, and on the right hand side of those boxes, in that little section, we're going to have all of our relevant information. Things like the colors that we want to use, the size, maybe there's different spacing that we want to use throughout the page as well. Whatever you think is going to be important to help make the next step a little bit easier. Last step, and this is my favorite, is transferring all of that stuff that we just penciled out into our official journal. This should be a seamless process because we've already done all of the legwork before, figured out what spreads we want to include in a bullet journal, how to lay out those spreads, and this plan with me should go really simple. Remember to gather all of those reference shots or different videos that you liked watching and have them up and available while you're going through this plan with me yourself. Remember, everything should be there to enhance your journal. If it's not going to help you, it's going to be a hindrance. It's going to get in the way, so don't include it. That includes different trackers that you think might be cute, but really not gonna help you. That was me with mood trackers. I don't know what it was. I thought it would be a good idea. I never ended up using it. It was such a waste of my time to include in my bullet journal. If you do have any questions though, or other comments and suggestions that might help out some people, leave them in the comments below. I always love learning new tips and tricks as well when it comes to bullet journaling. And if you've enjoyed this video so far, just make sure to smash that like button because it really does help people find this video and get it out there for other like-minded people. Stay tuned for next week where I'm going to be walking through the reasons why I quit bullet journaling and how I got around that and ended up coming back to doing something I love.